What's going on, guys? It's me. I'm here to give you a little bit of a primer into the summer assignment that we're going to be doing. I know it's been a few days, almost a week probably, since I posted it. That's sufficient time for you to take a look at it, understand the scope of it, what's involved in it, and I'm just going to walk you through it, okay? So we're going to do that together right now, kind of take a look at everything and make sure that everybody understands what's expected of them, okay? So the summer assignment itself, it looks a little goofy, and it's obviously meant to be on the fun side and the interesting side more so than it's meant to be on like the super serious hardcore textbook side. I made that decision because this is an assignment I've used in years past. I found it really good for sort of encouraging students to think outside the box, and also introduces a lot of important economic skills. A couple things about macro in general I want to go over as we do this video. The first is really important. Macro is a social science. So what does that mean? It means, like history or like psychology or like something like that, we use a scientific method in determining how we do our research, come up with our conclusions, and so on. But it also kind of straddles the world of mathematics. Now, don't let this freak you out. I am not good at mathematics. As I've said to many people over the time, if I can learn it, you can learn it. So there is some math in the course. The math is mostly the memorization of graphical models, and then you have to recreate them. It's not that difficult, really. There is some calculations in the course, but you're allowed a calculator, and the calculations are very basic. What's an example of a calculation you have to do? In a calculator, you'll have to do 1 divided by 0.10. Get a number. That number's 10. And then take that and multiply it by $1 million and find out that the result is $10 million. That's an example of the mathematics. Everyone can do it. It's not a huge part of the course. The mathematics is like 10% of the course, okay? The graphing is a big part of the course, but it's not like, we don't even use graph paper. It's literally like memorizing pictures. So don't let that piece of it intimidate you, for what it's worth. And I guess I can show this. Give me a second. I'll pull it up here. For what it's worth, my students did exceptionally well on the macro exam this year. Just to kind of give you some confidence, okay? I'll show it to you another day. I don't want to go through the trouble of logging in. But basically, my students did exceptionally well in the macro exam this year. And they usually do very, very well. And a large part of that is because of how good my students tend to be with the graphs. So it's just an FYI, okay? So kind of like as a side piece of this assignment, there is obviously a course behind the zombie apocalypse, okay? The thing is that when you're doing that course, you need to make sure that you're meeting the standards of the course. We're going to be using a lot of off-the-wall methodologies, things like examining a potential zombie apocalypse to learn economic theory. So the way the course is really structured is this. The first month or so, first half of the sort of first quarter, is not really too much macro. It's basic economics. It's what I would teach to a regular econ class, okay? Like a Regents level econ class. And then in the course of that month, the most important job you can do is do what you can, and it's not easy to do it, do what you can to start to think economically. And we'll discuss what that means in the course, and this assignment will help start you along that path. The course becomes, here's how the course works. I've said this every year, it's true. The course will be what it is. For some people, it'll be a little easier. For some, it'll be a little harder. But the moment your mind clicks into that thinking economically mode, where the way economic thinking alters your decision making, when that becomes a part of your natural thinking, which is only a good thing, by the way, the course becomes easy at that point. Like, it just becomes easy. So that could happen in month 1. That could happen in month 5. It's really hard for me to say. It's different for every student. But when it does happen, the course becomes easy after that. Okay, so take my word for it. Students did exceptionally well last year because so many of them made that transition to thinking economically. So what you want to be looking at when you're doing this assignment is, 1, have fun with it. Like, it's really important to be enthusiastic and having fun with this course. I'm not even going to get into what is economics here right now. I'm not going to do that. For now, it's the study of the zombie apocalypse. That's basically what it is in terms of your world right now. Textbook work and things like that, we'll handle all that when you get into school. All right, we're not worried about that over the summer. So let me run you through the assignment because I want to be clear about a few things. This is an AP level assignment. It's goofy, but it's AP level. and I have expectations for what I need done. And if you meet those expectations, you'll be in a much better place. And if you don't meet those expectations, then I'll be quite upset. Before I go any further on the assignment, let me remind everybody, the last week of August, I'm just going to pull up the actual calendar here. The last week of August, so that'd be August 31st. Sorry, that's a lie. That's July. August 28th, to September 1st. We have a AP workshop week effectively at the high school, right? Many of you have attended these in the past. My recommendation is that every one of you sign up. Now, I have not gotten any details, and I tried finding them on the website. I didn't see any details. It's already July 15th, 16th here. I'm assuming information was sent home to you guys about this. Here's my recommendation. Whether you're coming or not, I recommend you sign up. If you can make it in for 3 days that week, 4 days that week, 2 days that week, do it. It's free. It costs you nothing. I'm going to be there anyway. On top of that, we are not going to be doing zombie apocalypse in there. What I'm going to be doing with the students who show up is helping you start to make that mental transition to thinking economically. And it'll be fun. The week is not going to be bland, dry, boring material. We're going to look at interesting, outside-the-box things. Okay, we're going to look at something like, does your first name determine your lifelong success? Things like, how much would a person have to earn to get a person from another cultural background to consider them as attractive as people in their own background? Really interesting, outside the box, no one's ever thought of them kind of ways of looking at the world, and then using that as a way to transition your thinking economically. Like I said, it is necessary. I can't think of a more important term. It is necessary that you make that transition at some point. If you don't make that transition at some point, there will be a problem for you in the course. You will never really get it. So the sooner you begin transitioning that thinking, the better the year gets, the better your final grade gets, the better your AP grade gets, okay? In addition, some of you are going to want to consider a self-study in microeconomics to go alongside the macroeconomics. My advice to those who would consider that, one, it is a good thing if you can do it, because even if you only get a 3 on the micro exam, it's 3 more free college credits effectively. It doesn't even require a course. 2, microeconomics caters very much to people who are math strong. So if you're not strong in math, you're in the right place. Macro is where you want to be. If you are very good at math, you're a pre-calc, calc student, that kind of thing, you could probably handle everything in microeconomics more or less on your own, because there is a lot of crossover on the theory between macro and microeconomics, but micro is much more mathematics and macro is much more solutions. Like what we're going to do in this course, guys, is we're going to be identifying, like a doctor, a symptom in an economy of a illness, and we're going to try to resolve it with our ideas. So you're going to have to come up with ideas on how to fix economic situations effectively, or analyze what would happen. Like imagine being a doctor and I said to you, okay, there's flu in your home and somebody sneezes in the air and you come in contact with the flu. What then is going to be the most likely results of that? That's the kind of thing we do here. We do like a doctor diagnosis and then prescription of a solution in macro. Micro is not really like that. Micro is analytical, and it uses mathematics to do the analytics. So if you're strong at math, you can do a self-study in microeconomics. It's not something you have to do right away. We can discuss that certainly, especially if you come for that first week in the summer. We can discuss like what is the plan for something like that. I'd say about 3 to 5 students a year choose to do that, and about 2 to 3 of them actually go through with it and usually do very well on the micro exam. It's not a traditional thing that most students do, but it's an option. But all of you, regardless of your plans, this course requires you to make that mental transition. It requires you to mentally transition into an economic mindset. So to do that will take, like I said, an indeterminate amount of time per individual. So in my personal humble opinion, especially when the cost is $0, try to sign up for the summer workshop. Okay, so how do you do that? You contact A-Wing. Contact the school in general, contact guidance, and start asking questions. How do I do this? Like I said, you might have more info than I do. I would suspect Mr. Holonia sent home a letter, a Google form, a something. Find it and sign up to it. Okay, I don't have the information directly. I didn't get it. They don't give it to me. Find it and sign up. Like I said, even if you're only going to come for 2 days, whatever, you have a vacation you're wrapping up or whatever, that's fine. You come for 1 day, that's fine. Whatever it might be. Because again, one, I promise you it's going to be entertaining. You will have a good time. It's not like you're going to be bored. I'm not going to throw work at you. We're not doing that. It will be entertaining. If you can't make it, we're still going to do the same processes using different examples, and you won't have the head start others will have. We're still going to take that first month of the year to get you mentally sort of in the right place for doing economics. But like I said, especially if for you this is your first econ class, it's everybody's first econ class. If it's your first AP class, I meant to say, you might want to really consider coming for that first week as many days as you can. Okay, show up if it's and the other thing is too, and those of you who had me in 10th grade know I recommended this in 10th grade. You may be a student right now. There are a number of them deciding between AP Gov. I just whistled into the mic. AP Gov and AP Macro. If you're enrolled in Macro or you're enrolled in Gov and you're not sure where you want to be, or you're in one and maybe you want to be in the other, come to my summer week. Find out if Macro is for you. What I'll say is my students did very well. I don't know about how other students did in other courses. My students did very, very well. So if you want a summer experience or an AP experience next year that you're going to find entertaining, fulfilling, will be actually about real life stuff, my promise to you is the things you learn in this course, you can use in your real life the day you learn them. There is no other course that can promise you that. I can promise you that. So you want to know what's going on with inflation, interest rates, we've got you. You want to know about Bitcoin, crypto, we got you. What's an NFT? We got you. Like, seriously, the stuff I will go through in the course is stuff you'll be able to use every single day of your life. And the economic thinking that you have to do is something that will serve you in every element of your life till the day you die. So I would highly recommend starting that process as soon as possible, and therefore I really do recommend jumping into the summer class. Okay. Contact A-Wing, contact guidance, ask them about it, get signed up, do what you got to do, and do it ASAP, because I don't know when the deadline is. I imagine it's coming up soon if it hasn't already passed. If it did pass, just say, I didn't know, let me in. I'm sure they'll find a way. All right, let's get to the summer assignment. Sorry. What do you have to do? Well, first off, alongside the assignment, I've included a response sheet. I really do want everything on the response sheet, okay? You should have had in the assignment... have to go back to Google Classroom. I'm not going to do that right now. But in the assignment, in fact, yeah, I guess I can do that. Hang on. Yeah, here. This should have given you a copy for your own self. Like it should have made a copy just for you. So you should be able to edit it. If you can't edit it, just save a copy of it into your Google Drive. Most of you know how to do that right now in Google Docs, right? So if you go here and you hit make a copy, you'll make a copy and then make that copy because I want everything submitted on this sheet, okay? So what I tried to do was take the stuff that's in the much more colorful, fun assignment. This is, back in the day, I used to hand this out in book form every year in full color, and it was a lot of fun. But the school doesn't really want us using copies like that anymore, so we did it digitally. Okay, so first off, obviously, it's hard for me to grade you on how good a zombie survivor you are, right? This isn't a metric that's so easy to figure out. So, a couple things. One, the zombie apocalypse assignment here is mostly based on effort and quality of effort. Meaning, did the student do everything I asked of them? And is the written pieces, the lists, and so on adhering to the directions and demonstrate an AP standard? Okay? So I'm not going to be evaluating whether or not your ideas are sound for surviving zombies. There's nobody out there who could tell you that. We're going to have a little fun with the zombie thing, but the expectations are the work is done to the standard of AP, and if you don't know what that is, my advice is always do more, okay? If you're not certain, do more. All right, so the first thing here just kind of tells you sort of what you can expect in the assignment. This page, it tells you about the kind of zombies we want you to consider in this assignment. So you're planning around these types of zombies. Because, there are zombies in some films that are like, "Arr," and just like slowly shamble at you. Not these guys. These guys run at you. They're full speed. They're out of their minds, out of control. Read it carefully because I'm expecting you to think about this as you write about your zombie apocalypse stuff. So, if, for example, your plans seem to indicate that you've not read this thing, then I'm going to have a problem with that, all right? That's what I mean by doing it to standard. Did you do what I asked you to do? All right, first order of business. The GAS, the General Aptitude and Skills Summary. So what is the GAS? The GAS is your personal resume. Now, I've recreated this in this sheet. It is very important you leave the space empty. I said to leave empty. I'll explain why in a moment. Well, no, I won't. Sorry, that's a secret. That's a surprise. I'll leave that until the school year starts. But I do want these things filled out. Now, a couple things. You may answer this to the extent you wish. So, I'm a fat guy. Maybe you don't want to tell me your weight. Okay? Fair enough. Don't write it down. FYI, your name is not on this page, and your name is not to appear on this page. Do not put your name on this page. If you have to put your name on this page, you're going to lose points because I'm going to have to delete it. All right? I don't need your name to appear anywhere in this response sheet because when I look at your digital submission, it'll take me to your work. I don't want your name to appear anywhere on this. So height, weight, gender, blood type, physical aptitude, intellectual aptitude, and interpersonal aptitude. So what is physical aptitude? Skills and talents that are physical, right? You tell us what you think you're good at. You can do this in any format you wish. Do you want to do a bullet list? Do you want to write a paragraph? It's up to you. The idea is, though, you should be trying to sell yourself. This is like a resume, okay? So you're going to tell us, or tell me, what you think are your physical skills that would be useful in the context of surviving zombies. As an example, if you run track and you're like, I don't know. I don't even know what's fast. I run a 4-minute mile. Okay, cool. Put that in. All right, because that might be helpful for running away from zombies, right? If you, you do weightlifting and you can bench 300, cool. Tell us that, whatever the number, whatever it would be, whatever your physical skills are. You train mixed martial arts. You are a handy with a shotgun. Whatever it might be. I'll let you decide. I don't really want to give too many examples. Think about yourself. What are you physically aptitude? You could just be someone who's physically strong, or maybe you're 6'3", and that gives you some advantages. All right, or maybe you're really super small, and that gives you other physical advantages, and you're selling it. You're like, well, I'm super small, I'm super tiny. I can weave in and out. I can get into small spaces if we needed to. I can crawl through windows if we needed to. Like whatever. That's physical aptitude. Intellectual aptitude are the skills you have that would demonstrate mental acumen, high cognitive levels, reasoning, ability to learn, ability to grow mentally, that sort of thing. Again, I have straight A's, like something like that. Whatever you want to say to sort of demonstrate your intellectual aptitude, feel free. And then the last category is interpersonal aptitude. To what extent do you demonstrate leadership skills, teamwork, empathy, determination, grit, sort of like the undefinable elements of a human being, right? To what extent are you the kind of person other people want on their team and why? That would be interpersonal aptitudes. So those are your resumes. You fill this out. The rule I have is it must keep to one page. So if you want to add a little bit more here in the physical and take a little bit less off intellectual, that's fine. My expectation is you would do your best to fill each of these things. So, as I just pop in some stuff like that, my expectation is you would try your best to fill each box up with as much information as you can. Do not lie. Do not lie. If you don't have a skill, don't claim you do. Don't be like, I was trained by the FBI. No, you weren't. Okay, you're not creating a character. This is you, the individual who exists in or around July 16, 2023. What can you do? Who are you? All right, this is your resume, okay? And again, please, you can put in as much or as little as you wish. As much or as little as you wish. All right? Well, let me rephrase that. I want these 3 boxes done. If you don't want to tell me your height, weight, gender, and blood type, that's fine. But these boxes need to be done. You want to leave the the tail of the tape out, that's okay. But these 3 boxes absolutely need to be done. Okay, let's move on. So that's the first element. Second element. The essential materials for survival, or your EMS. Your EMS list is going to be 25. I think on this I was only able to fit 22. You're only required to fill out the list, so 22 is sufficient. Don't do 25. 22 is sufficient. Okay. Items that, if I said to you, create your emergency zombie kit, what, if you were going to sort of make a thing and pack it up, what's coming with you? What are you bringing with you if the zombies strike? Okay, like what are the things like, and it can be anything you want. It does, and again, it doesn't have to be things that are necessarily obviously useful for fighting or getting away from zombies. I'll give you an example, okay, of something I would probably bring. So nothing in here. Okay, as an example. Well, no. Here is something. This baseball was given to me by my kids for Father's Day. It's my favorite Father's Day gift I ever got from them. It's got pictures of me and them on it. It is useless for fighting zombies, although I might put it in a tube sock and bludgeon zombies with it, but it itself is not useful for fighting zombies. I still would probably have it on the list because for me it's sentimental. Like whatever it is. Now that is taking one of my 22 spots. So if I choose to do that, that's fine. I'm not bringing something else. How much, like, I get these questions all the time. Malvagno, look, if I want to bring water, does that mean if I want to, is one bottle of water a spot? No, but let's say something like a case of water is a spot. Like, in other words, if you could buy it in that format, a bag of charcoal, that's a spot, okay? A case of water, that's a spot. I would say something along those lines. If you could buy it in that sort of a way, if it comes packaged that way, that would be considered one item. Again, read it. You have to have it something that's already in your household. Now, what does already mean? Already doesn't mean I need you to spin around the house and see if you have a case of water. If your family typically buys cases of bottled water, you can presume that you would already have that in the house, okay? What you can't say is something like, I'm going to go out there and buy a tactical nuke and a small tank. Do you have a tactical nuke and a small tank? If you do, well, let me know so I can call the FBI. But also, then fine, you can include it on the list. What you can't do is be like, I'm going to go buy 10,000 rounds of ammunition. Do you have 10,000 rounds of ammunition in your house? If you do not put it on the list. Okay? If it's not an item your household would already own or typically own, then do not put it on the list. The idea is the zombies have struck. You don't have time to go to whatever, the local gun shop and get ammunition. You don't have time to make a baseball bat with nails driven through it. If you don't already have it, you don't already have it, okay? So already means your family is likely to have it on hand at all times, or you already possess it within the confines of your home. Again, it has to be within the confines of your home. If you have, I don't know, if you have a property upstate New York and you've got, I don't know, 3 shotguns there, you're not counting them because you're not going to be upstate New York when the zombies hit. You're here in Shoreham in Long Island. Like, that's where you are, okay? So, you can read that yourself. Again, you just fill out the list here. Just add things in as you come up with them. And then lastly, zombie shelter selection and the ZASP or the ZASP. Okay, zombie shelter selection. So what I did, and I did make this years ago, so some of it's a little dated, but we're going to go with it. I took several locations around town that I thought would be both fun and also real. And I rated them. I invented the ratings at the time based on security. How defensive is it? Okay. Sustainability, how if you had to live here, say for a month, an extended period of time, how could you do it? Would you starve? Would you lack of water? What would happen? And then how easy it is to get in and get out, because a shelter is nice, but it may not be so easy to get into the shelter if you had to, and it may be more difficult to leave it in the event of having to get like extracted and go to safety. Right? What if the place is breached? Can you get out? Could you lock yourself in a closet? Sure. Is it easy to escape it if the zombies come out the closet? No, you're done, right? So you want to think about ease of entry and exit. And then a very important one, actually, no more or less important than the others, is distractibility. To what extent could, suppose you're holed up somewhere and the zombies are not actively destroying your door, but they're out there, right? They're out there in the world, and they're deadly dangerous. Okay, what where you are a place that mentally would provide distraction from the horrific reality of living in a world full of zombies. As an example, if you were at a bowling alley, you could theoretically bowl for something to do and keep you entertained. You can figure out something. So I came up with these ratings. A 1-star rating is low, meaning bad. It's not good for this, and a 4-star rating is high. And these are the places I came up with. I came up with the high school. Security here is not based on the fact that your school's not a safe place. It's just not safe if zombies show up, right? You've got enormous glass windows zombies could breach into. You got a bunch of entries and exits. You can't really monitor everything. So it's not a particularly zombie-proof place. On the other hand, though, it's got a cafeteria, it's got food, it's got vending machines, it's got the means for you to store food a long time if there's power. Even if there's not power, a fridge full of ice can actually hold its coolness for quite a while. So you could keep and the place has generators. So even if you lose power, you can keep the kitchens running. You can eat food. You'd be pretty safe there. It's you know where it is. It's pretty easy to get into. And because there's multiple exits, if say for example the gym door got knocked down by the zombies, there's a lot of ways for you to escape out the building if it's no longer safe. And obviously, it's pretty distractible. There's a lot of things to do in the high school. It may not be the most exciting place in your world, but if you were stuck there, there's a gym, there's workout equipment, there's a chem lab. You can light some magnesium on fire and see what happens. Do not try that at home. So there's a lot you could do that'd be kind of fun. So it's pretty decent. And I kind of rated each place like that. Now, the Tesla complex, FYI, this was back when the place was boarded up. It was basically closed to the public. So some of these ratings definitely wouldn't apply anymore. Like, you can go visit the Tesla museum now. Back then, the whole place was closed, so it was very secure. It had a perimeter fence. It was boarded up. It was not super easy to penetrate. For now, we're gonna go with these ratings. Okay. You got the King Cullen over there in Wading River. Obviously, it's a supermarket. Easy to get in, easy to get out, but gigantic windows, again, problematic. One of the student favorites over the years was Crazy Uncle Carl's. Now, what is Crazy Uncle Carl? So I'm going to tell you who Crazy Uncle Carl actually is. My uncle, my real-life uncle, is my basis for Crazy Uncle Carl. He's a guy who lives on his own, who is armed to the absolute teeth. He's a real man. Super nice guy, but kind of paranoid. So if you could actually kind of Crazy Uncle Carl let you into his place, you probably are in pretty safe location. You're armed to the teeth. My uncle actually even has a hidden room in his house where he, like I legit paranoid. My uncle will give you some stories when the school year starts. So there is it's a very safe location. So this is not any one place. It's like we all got some like person in our family who might be the kind of person who fits Crazy Uncle Carl, or a neighbor, or even my uncle, whatever. However, this guy is also kind of paranoid. So if he sees someone come running at his house, let me in, let me in. What if he thinks you're a zombie, right? So you may not be the easiest to convince this man to let you in, and it may not be the easiest to get out of once you're in it. Because again, if he's got it locked down tight, you may not be able to get out. And then he's probably not going to spend too much time, if he's like a hardcore survival kind of person, he's not going to spend too much time worrying about whether or not there's entertainment value in his sort of shelter. So assume that. And then lastly, I picked the East Wind, and I thought the East Wind represented like a little mix of everything, okay? It's a big property, lots of places, got a kitchen, there's got to be something you can do there for fun, spa, gym, something to keep you occupied, etc. Okay, let's get to the actual job. You pick one shelter, and you record that shelter here under the ZSP. So if I wanted to say Crazy Uncle Carl's, I'd say Crazy Uncle Carl, right? That's Carl, right? That's it. That's how I would do it. And then you have to do these things in this plan. So you would go below this and you'd start A, and you'd start writing your plan out, all right? So what is the plan? The zombie apocalypse survival plan is unique to each of you. This is your plan. It's a written document, 5 total sections, each one A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so that's how you're going to break it down. That's your section, section A, section B. I'm expecting each section will meet a minimum of 200 words in length. So how many words is 200 words? Well, I'll show you. I will show you. 200 words in length. So it's about 40% of a single-sided page or 80% of a double-sided page. So that's about what you could say. All right. So if it's single-sided or single-spaced, depending on the size of your font, 40% might be like around there. So figure you're going to need about 2 or 3 pages worth of stuff to get all 5 sections in. All right. And I just want you to keep on typing. When you're ready to do B, keep on typing, etc. Just keep it going right here in the document. I want it in this one submission. I don't want things separately submitted. Back to the assignment, sorry. Each section will have the following. For rationale, I want you to identify your 3 criteria for decision making. Like, for example, for me, priority 1 for me would be the safety and security of my children. That's rationale 1. What my plan is going to say is based on 1, my children need to be safe. 2, I intend to ensure that they're able to. Number 2 might be I don't want my children to see any of the horrors of a zombie apocalypse because they're very young kids, and I wouldn't want them to see what's going on out there. So that would be a consideration for me. 3 would be something like my children are extraordinarily picky eaters because they're both autistic. So it wouldn't be enough for me to say, okay, you must eat what we have here because we're in a zombie apocalypse. That would not work. They actually would not eat. So I'd have to make sure that I pick a place. Like for me, I have to think about that. So whatever place I pick has to have food that they would eat. Like for me, King Cullen is a much better choice than a lot of other places because I know my kids will eat the food there. I recognize though also that that's not the safest place, so I have to weigh these options. So my 3 criteria, the things most important to me. No one's asking you to be a superhero in this, so don't look at it from I want to protect my family. I mean, that's the obvious one. Look at it from your perspective, right? Like, you want to survive the zombie apocalypse? Do you want to, go out there and fight the zombies? Like, what is your criteria for what you're going to do? Like, feel free to go with it. You know what I mean? Let it run. Keep it, PG-13, but go with it. And then based on your criteria, build the rest of the plan. So how do you intend to survive in your shelter based on the items you brought in your list? So I want you to talk about your shelter and your list. How do these things combine to create the best survival plan for you? How do you intend to get basic nutritional needs? Food and water. What if the water is not clean? How are you going to boil it? What's your plan there? How are you going to keep the water clean? What do you intend to do? All right, what's your plan? And I don't mind if you want to research how to acquire water and keep it safe in a survival situation. That's fine. Again, I'm not judging your survival acumen, but I am looking that you've done real effort. If you're well, I'm just going to, whatever, go walk to Wading River and get water from the Wading River. I'm going to drink out of the duck pond. Imagine you might be in place for a month. What's your plan, okay? How are you going to have energy? Not personally, but electricity, fire. Where are you going to get energy sources? How are you going to do that? What if this hits in the middle of winter? How are you going to be warm? What's your plan? How are you going to not sweat to death in the summer? What's your plan? So you're going to have to think about those things, okay? And then lastly, I want you to imagine a circumstance where you were ordered, say, for example, on the radio or something, or TV, and the local authority said, okay, we're going to be evacuating the area. Get to the Loco power plant, your old nuclear power plant there in Shoreham, and we will extract you. The military will put you on a boat and get you the hell out of here. We'll go to Connecticut, right? What's your plan? How are you getting there? Okay, so you gotta get from Shoreham to the power plant. It's X number of miles from wherever it is that you're shacking up. How are you gonna make sure you arrive safely? How are you gonna avoid zombies? Fight zombies? What's your plan? If you had to evacuate, what's your plan? So this is the whole thing. That's the assignment. And I want everything to go on this particular thing. And just make sure it's all put in there. And we will be good to go. All right. So we're going to cut it here. The video is long enough at 34 minutes. Again, please strongly consider signing up for that AP week. Even if you're not going to come. Even if you're only going to come 2 or 3 days. Do it. It's in your interest to start that process early. Cannot stress this enough. Learn to think economically will help you do it, and it'll help you do the summer assignment too, which again, the summer assignment is not due until September 11th. So let's be clear about that. You have till after the school year starts before it's actually due. So it's the summer assignment, but in fact, you could probably do this thing over a single weekend in early September, late August. So I mean, that's, to be fair, I mean, you could. So I would recommend that you sign up for the summer week. Again, even if you only come for a couple days, that's fine. If you're not sure if you can make it at all, sign up anyway. There's no harm in signing up. You're not going to do anything. I'm there anyway. You know, if 20 people sign up and 15 show, whatever, that's fine. Okay, feel free to sign up. All right, guys. So that's the video. Any questions? You're going to put those questions into a reply on Google Classroom to this video. This video is on YouTube, and I did live stream it. So technically, if you joined my channel right now, you would see it. But I'm just going to basically stop the stream, which will automatically save the live stream, and then it'll become our video. All right, guys. So thanks a lot, and